Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Caroline, the original Dragon Lady. Today is something a little bit different. I'm talking about the tarot and oracle cards. And I suppose in some respects it's more of a beginner's type video to allay some of those sort of questions and myths and things people have around tarot and oracle cards, and also talk about the difference. So, the tarot has been around for centuries. It really found its feet or traction around the Renaissance period. So, Italy and France, it was used a lot in the courts, in the courtiers, and it's called the Triumph cards. It's a very potted version of the tarot. Some people think it goes back much, much further. In truth, the history of the tarot has been lost in in the antiquity of time. So, what is the difference between the tarot and the oracle? Tarot is set at 78 cards, and within the tarot, you have four groups or four suits. So, it's where our playing cards came from. Our playing cards or an offshoot of the tarot. That's how I see it. Anyway, I don't think it was the other way around. So the four suits are cups, wands, swords, and pentacles, and then different authors, different artists have different names for them. But ultimately, that's the concept of the groups of cards, the sets. And within each group of wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, you have 14 cards. This is where they differ. This is where they differ from playing cards. So you have the ace to 10, and then you have princess, prince, king and queen, or knight and princess, or knight and prince. Again, it varies from deck to deck. Some people have knave and princess, king and queen, but you always have 14 cards. You have 4 court cards and then 10 numbered cards. On top of that, you've then got the 22 major arcanas, and this is known as the Fool's Journey. And I think of them as being cards that are much more fixed, really, whereas the pip cards or the minor arcanas, the soup cards, are very flexible and can be very much a movable feast because they're a representation of life, of your life and those around you, or it can be. Whereas the major arcanas, some people think of as being the fate cards. So it's all written in the stars, it's going to happen. And I find with the major arcanas that they tend to be much more fixed than the minor arcanas. And they are events that are, very likely to happen. And you can water them down and move them around time-wise, but ultimately it's something that you will experience one way or another. Whereas the minors are much more to do with your day-to-day life. So the tarot is very much a story. And when you're reading the tarot, the cards that you've chosen, that have been picked, will always tell a story, or they should always tell a story. If they don't make any sense, then you need to repick. Maybe you weren't in the right space or the headspace, or you were distracted. So if your cards don't tell a story and don't make any sense, then you need to re-choose, reshuffle, re-choose. And often it's you'll need to. It's a good idea to ground, to sort of shake it off, whatever it is that's been, that's worrying you. But then you come to that point of centre. And a lot of instructions are, take a few deep breaths, clear your mind, all that type of thing. All of it is valid. Whatever you need to do is to come into that, you need to come to that inner point of calm whenever you're choosing the tarot. I was at an event a few years ago, and a lady sat down in front of me, and she was all over the place, and picked a card. It's like, nah, this is no, these are so all over the place. They're so erratic, so jumbled. And I said to her, look, go and have a walk round, regroup, come back and see me in an hour. And then she came back and we did the reading and it was fine. So if you're in that erratic headspace, you're not going to get an accurate reading. So that's the tarot. Now the oracle cards differ hugely in as far as an oracle deck can be anything from, like my dragon deck can be anything. These are 33 cards, and that's the exception in oracle cards. The average oracle deck is 44. That's the sort of the industry standard, if you like. This is one of my go-tos. This is one of my favourite decks, and this is a 55 card deck. This is by Kyle Gray, and it's the Angels and Ancestors. And it is one of my go-tos, I've got to say. So what happens with an oracle deck? They tend to be what do you need to know now? What do you need to be working on? What do you need to be understanding or letting go of, or something like that? They're the immediate things that you need to understand and have and be working with or whatever. Whereas the tarot is a bigger picture, and that's how they differ. And that ends today's lesson. I'll see you in the next video.